All right, I'm gonna get a move on. I'm actually gonna try to visit the Pearl Tower this morning, which I've been to decades ago. So I'd like to try to revisit it really quick and just see what it looks like because I have a free day here in Shanghai. Something else I'd like to point out that I really love about China is the public transportation, the subways, the taxis. They are just the best in the world, especially the trains. I mean, you can get around anywhere. You know, they're high speed, they're very affordable. So things here are quite cheap. Going out to eat doesn't break the bank. And also you've got so many options here for shopping, for eating. I mean, every store imaginable is already in China. I've been seeing Peet's Coffee all over the place recently, and when did Peet's Coffee? It's not even really a thing in the US that much, but here in China you can find it in a lot of the major cities. But if you really need American food, in almost every touristy spot in this country, you will find a McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's. I've just listed a lot of pizza, but they also have Burger King, they have KFC. China is more capitalist than even the US. Hey there everyone, good morning. Today I'm just here in the mega city of Shanghai, China. My least favorite city in this whole country. That being said, today I just want to talk about why I think China is the best country overall in the entire world. The infrastructure here is just out of this world, and not just in this city of Shanghai, but all over China, in all of its cities. They spend so much money on making these amazing public spaces and doing good for the people that live here. And I think that is the kind of building and infrastructure that they have that I don't really see anywhere else in the world. It's just always a delight, you know? And the people here are super friendly for the most part. The only downside is that I don't speak Chinese, which is on me because that's what everybody speaks here and I should learn it. I can say a few phrases and I do have a translator on my phone, which is nice. But it would definitely be better if I could communicate a little bit more. Again, this is all from my own point of view, my own experiences, and everybody's are different. You know, everybody's going to have a bias about their favorite place or the place they think is the greatest or the best. My favorite place, by the way, is not China. Even though I think this is the greatest country in the world, it's not the place that I feel at home the most. That would actually be South Korea. And I even really enjoy going to Japan and doing some exploring there and meeting friends. I think that's a big part of it too. You know, a place that's home is always going to be a place where you have friends and connections, or you've got, you know, a history, a past there, which for me, that's Korea. And I do have a past in China a bit, but it's not as strong as the one I have in Seoul or in Gwangju or in Gangneung. I was just reading earlier today that the country that people say is the best in the world would be like Switzerland or somewhere in the Netherlands, maybe Canada even. I've been to Switzerland many times and I don't think it's as good as China, honestly. I will say it's got beautiful nature. They do have a lot of public services, but it's also incredibly expensive and unaffordable for most. So that's my big drawback with Switzerland, but I do like it a lot there. As for my own history, I grew up in the USA as a kid, but then of course I moved to Asia as a young adult when I was 19, 20. So I definitely love the USA as much as anyone else. Again, it was my home growing up, but I do feel like, especially in the last decade or two, it's just kind of going downhill, especially in terms of like the government and how it's supposed to be helping people, but I feel like they're not as much. Whereas here, I think the government supports people a lot. I know there's always exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, I think there is a growing middle class here that, again, doesn't really exist in America. There are more opportunities. And for anyone that's never been to China, I say, please come over and check it out for yourself. Don't just take my word. Again, this is my bias talking. This is my life experience. This is how I view the world. But your experience could be very different. Everybody has a different view based on their own life and what they've been doing. So, yeah, if you've never been here, though, highly recommend it. If you've never done it before, though, I would do a lot of research because it can be a little tricky, especially since you need an app to pay for everything on your phone. They've kind of moved beyond cash. I feel like as far as like technology-wise, they're light years ahead of a lot of places. But it is a learning curve, and it took me a little while, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I am quite comfortable now, even grabbing the taxi, or as they call it, Didi, from my phone. It's kind of like Uber here. After I use it a few times, it's not hard at all. And again, I have a translation app, which I started to use a lot more frequently, which is very, very useful for me. And I will be honest, as a foreigner living here, it is still a bit more difficult than I feel like it should be. But at the same time, I know people moving to the US have a really hard time as well. One of my big pet peeves recently, and actually I felt this way for a long time, is this very negative perception of this country in Western media. There have been lots of empires and great nations throughout history, and the one thing they all have in common is they've all fallen or, moved into second or third place. And we are definitely in a transition now where the US has been the global superpower for probably about 70 years, since World War II. China's been building up for a few decades now, and they are definitely the dominant power. So the one day I come over here to check this out, they're doing some kind of work. Looks like setting up for some kind of event, though. Doesn't surprise me. I think they do a lot of events around here because it is a very popular spot, especially with tourists. Trying my absolute best here not to walk into anybody's photo, but it's kind of hard sometimes. I have been back here recently just to look at it when it's lit up at night, but never to actually try to go inside and go to the top. We'll see if I can get that done today. Success achieved. Well, at least I got inside the building this time. But it wasn't that hard. They have a ticket office outside specifically for foreign visitors, and that made it really simple. I might even make it through this round of the elevator. This was quick. I'm pretty impressed. Usually you get stuck in lines forever at these kind of places, but doing well. I missed the elevator this time by one. I was next, but now I'll be first. Silver linings. Wow. Bit crowded up here. Not too bad. Well, you do get some great 360 views of the city here. While this tower is probably the most recognizable building on the Shanghai city skyline, there are several buildings that are taller. And I believe you can go up to the top of those as well for some insane views, looking even over this tower back down into the downtown city area. All right, I think I've enjoyed walking around here, getting all the views I can for right now. And I have other things I can do to relax today. This isn't really relaxing, but definitely cool to see again. And maybe in 20 more years, if it's still here, I'll come back and, you know, check it out another time. So I guess we have to go down the staircase to another level to get the elevator going all the way down. And this area is even more crowded. Holy crap. I just thought about it. A million other people are sitting on this glass floor, so I probably don't want to be touching it or sitting on it for too long. Oh, that is a long way down. Now I'm kind of on the lower level. There's a ball at the top and a ball kind of at the bottom. I'm on that one. And this one, instead of having like a window, this is just kind of an open air net, which is nice because it is hot out, but there's a nice cool breeze coming in now. And you can still get a few views up here, but the main ones were at the top. Much more relaxing too, because there's nobody on this level. I think everybody's kind of goes to the top and then just goes down and out. I was just thinking, now that I've done this, come up here during the daytime, I really want to come back at night, even though I know it's going to be way more crowded and probably more difficult to get a ticket as well. But I think those views would be just as impressive, if not more, with everything lit up, all these buildings. That is something that China does really well, are skylines and buildings that light up at night. Something that I don't think anybody else in the world does as good. This is a really cool room with lots of lights, but I feel like they need a warning for people that get triggered by the flashing and the craziness of it all. Because I could see how this could bring on like a panic attack if you're not careful. This is kind of a presentation about the future of Earth. Kind of cool. The floor is actually moving, so you just kind of stand here as you go by this video presentation on this massive screen. I don't remember this at all from 20 years ago. Must be something new they've added. Okay, finally at the bottom, and I can figure out how to get out of here now. Get through all the maze of kind of tourist attractions, little shops, people trying to sell me something. Typical stuff you get in places like these. By the look of that line, it is a good thing that I came in as early as I did because it's wrapped around the building probably at this point. They almost make it too difficult to get out of here, if you know what I mean. I guess they figure eventually you'll just get tired of trying to find an exit, and then you'll sit down in one of the restaurants to eat or buy something at one of the shops. But I think, yep, got it. Ah, bright sunshine again. Can you hear that? Can you hear all the cars going by? Thousands of them? No? Well, that is because most of them are electric. If you see a green license plate on the back, it means they're an electric vehicle. And China is really leading the world in this market of electric cars. They have several big brands. I think the most famous one outside of China is maybe BYD. But these are just amazing vehicles, way better than a lot of the ones we can buy in other parts of the world. And this is part of what makes them great. I mean, is the technology and the advancements they've made here with, renewable energy, things like that. It's really great for the environment as well. So lots of benefits to it besides just the noise pollution. And it is just, it's so quiet. It's hard to even tell you're next to a busy freeway or busy highway. I mean, that's a 5-lane road below me with like multiple intersections. Well, thanks so much for joining me today here in this area of Shanghai with all the tall buildings, and hopefully you thought it was interesting going up the Pearl Tower. It is a very touristy thing and something that I'll only do every 20 years probably, if that. But it was fun, yeah. And I hope you also enjoyed this conversation today because it's one that I've thought about a lot. Everything I've said, it's my own personal feelings, it's my own bias because of my own life experiences. And again, you could have a very different view, and I'd love to hear about it because everybody's got an opinion, right? I would just say, don't knock it until you try it. So if you've never been to China, if you've never visited this part of the world, please do, because I think you'll be happily surprised at what you find here. And, enjoy your time because people are so kind and friendly, especially to people like me, Laowais, foreigners who don't always know what's going on. In fact, I'd say that I probably don't know what's going on about 90% of the time while I'm here. But I still enjoy it. Stay safe, healthy, and happy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me today. Life's a journey meant to be shared. Remember to always travel with an open heart and an open mind. Enjoy the ride and keep your eyes on the horizon for the next adventure. I'll see you out there.